Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome to part 6 of the Ultimate Guide to Bloodborne. Today we're going to go to the Forbidden Woods.
Yep, so we are flying through this.
Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the longest areas that we're going to do. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we've got our Blood of Adela, because that stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it's
actually
like
brilliant.
Liquid gold.
I mean, it really is. It's like mithril.
Anyway, so we'll be dealing with this old woman later on. Don't know why she's cowering in fear currently, but...
Because that's what she does after Amelia.
Is it?
Yeah, she does that after Amelia. And then after the Forbidden Woods, she then becomes useful for the first time.
Yeah.
Although for a very short time.
Which you'll see how to do her
Which I
quest
suppose
later.
we make shorter, so we end her life.
A lot quicker than it could have.
It's tough being judge, jury and execution. So we're just going to like run past the Cthulhu completely, because let's not bother dealing with it. Alfred's here now because we've beaten Amelia, but we don't need to talk to him until after Canehurst.
Yeah, of course.
You can speak to him and get some extra backstory about the stuff that goes on at Canehurst and shit like that now as well.
Yeah.
So he has like an extra dialogue option now from what he did have before you were in Old Yharnam. So now that you have to touch on the skull at Amelia to go through this door. Like the cutscene plays and then that gives you the password, so you have to do that. And then you speak to that dead body and it just gives you a madman's knowledge because.
Yeah, fuck it, so pick that up. So now we are in the forest now. There is a lot of shit to pick up here.
There is 70 items in the Forbidden Woods in total, and we hit, well, there's more than 70, I think there's 72 or 73, but we hit all of them.
Chances are somebody's got to count them and we'll end up having missed one. So
Yeah.
thanks for giving them a solid number there.
Well, whatever, they've got the guidebook as well, probably, maybe, I don't know. I mean, if they've got the guidebook and they're watching us do it, then I don't know why they're having issues, but whatever.
Yeah, so we're going to follow this down here, and the path is fairly straightforward.
there is an item that we passed right there that I'm going to go back for in a second, but I want to take out these guys, because this guy throws oil urns at you, and that guy with the two-person saw has a torch, which does a lot of damage if he hits you with it while you're oiled. Tried to plunge an attack, and it failed, so I just went, fine then, I'll parry him.
Aye.
I'll just parry it.
Just parry it, aye.
Aye.
So
So the
it's
other
a
item
warp
was
sword,
up here.
clearly.
I mean, well, with that guy it is. Fucking hyper armor.
Anyway, so there's the twin shards, and we'll be
Coming
picking
back
up...
down this hill, we're going to go up to the right because there's a sort of tough enemy to deal with up here who's guarding a gemstone. When I say sort of tough, I mean probably the bane of my existence in this game.
Yeah, these guys are like
hate
the
them.
hardest.
I hate them so much because they've got a ridiculous swing arc and I don't know when to parry them, and they do that, and they steal backstabs as well apparently. See? The fuck is that shit? And then they've also got halberd spin to win just in case the deck wasn't stacked against you already.
You're salty as fuck.
Yeah, I fucking hate these guys so much, and there's like 2 of them in the woods.
So anyway, items through here, and there's 2 of them. One's a soul packet, I'm sure. Madman's
Madman's knowledge and a gemstone.
Oh, okay, cool. So, moving on, there is...
We're coming up to the first lantern in the Forbidden Woods.
Yeah, so we're going to try and explain, you know, the architecture of the Forbidden Woods in order to try and give you better understanding. It's pretty much just a straight path until it gets to like certain areas.
I tried to be somewhat conscious with the camera work because this place is like a bit of a labyrinth. So
Yeah.
I tried to be somewhat conscious of the camera work and not like jerk it around really quickly all the time so that you guys can get a good layout of Forbidden Woods. But really the best way to do it is just to win yourself and try and mimic what I'm doing if you can, and then just see where it takes you, because you'll be able to figure out the Forbidden Woods pretty quickly.
Yeah, now the issue with the Forbidden Woods is, although there is sort of like semi-landmarks, a lot of the stuff all looks the same, just like big trees and gravestones and shit, so it was kind of hard to like pinpoint specific things to look out for. So
It's easy to get lost, but this is like the first section of it. This is us just entering the woods, and there's a couple of villages that are only in the upper section. When you get to the lower section, it is like a lot more, it is just woods there. There's like loads of snakes and shit, so it gets a lot tougher in the second half of the Forbidden Woods, definitely. Probably one of the tougher areas in the game, the second half of the woods.
Oh, definitely.
So what you just seen there was there's like these planks that are arranged, like as you can see right now. It's actually a button for a trap. Now if you're quick, you can just run past those 2 guys at the very start and just run straight past that trap, and when the log flies off, it will kill one of them. It's amusing.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that if you're fancying like a sort of not really a laugh, but where you blow nose out slightly harder.
Yeah,
not blow air out slightly harder.
It's not a laugh that like strikes the vocal cords. It's just a heavy breath.
One that's like...
Yeah, like that. So coming down here, we're going to get this item. Then I'm going to double back because there's a lot of enemies here, and you can actually plunging attack 2 or 3 of them from the other side, which you're about to see me do here. Not gonna lie, this was accidental at the time of recording the guide. It just worked out really well. See what I mean?
Now, be wary because again, there's guys that throw oil here. There's guys with torches and stuff.
You just took out one of the oil throwers though with that plunge attack, which is really handy. So now coming around the back, this gives us a lot more space because we know we can retreat safely behind us, and we've got a lot of the woods on the right. Just don't go too far right, because if you hit like a wooden sort of platform, you're going to fall down to the second section.
Yeah, so we'll show you that bit. But pick up some bullets, just kill this guy. Now there's like these two guys, and one's like the plank, and the plank guys are completely harmless essentially.
Yeah, and they're fucking idiots. Look at them.
Yeah.
Look at them. Like, why do you exist? What was his purpose? So moving along anyway, I'm just making sure that I did actually pick up the item because I forgot that I did. So we're just gonna go back. We're gonna go back down the way we came now, and there's a wandering nightmare nearby. There's also like 3 or 4 crows in that section, but don't worry about those guys. So take a right after this tree.
Where you saw that lantern. If you follow that lantern and keep running, you'll fall down planks. Now, obviously, we're not going to fall down it, but you don't really want to fall down it. You want to go the other way because it's a little bit easier to take care of the enemies.
There is natural progression, and there's more items if you go the other way as well.
Yeah.
One of the armor, I shouldn't really say armor. One of the costumes that you get.
Yeah.
Is actually very good. One of the better sets in the game. It's the white church set that we're going to be coming up to. It's really, really strong. Has really good spread out defenses. It looks like the black one apart from its white. So it's a nice set. It's really good.
Yeah. So to get here, you just run over the sort of. It looks like you can't actually get over the hill, but it's like a hill of flowers, and you can just run over it. I mean, you saw us do it, but yeah.
Over. So now we're coming down here. Now on our right is another village. Now we're not going to go that way just yet, but we are going to go into that village. We're going to come round from the other side where it's safer. So that is another platform, another trap. So we're going to spring it just so you guys can see where it is, where it will come from. But you're pretty much safe. As soon as it falls off its chain, it can't hurt you anymore.
Yeah.
But we're going to go uphill to the left because there's stuff up here that we want to get.
Yeah, it's also quite important.
Yeah, there is an important item up here which we don't get. You'll see us get that in the second, the next part, which will be when we go to Yosefka's clinic. But
I swear to God, you better not have just missed those bullets, by the way.
I'm pretty sure I didn't, did I?
I think you just walked straight past them.
I think I might have.
You better go back and get them.
I hope I do. I don't think I do, to be honest. But I mean, they've seen them. I swear to God, if I miss these bullets, I'm going to be so fucking annoyed. But so where we killed that first dog, you would have seen a lantern, like the red lantern, up against the wall. If you break the boxes there,
missed them.
I know, I guess I did. If you break the boxes there, you can speak to the NPC who will give you the tonsil stone. Of course, if this isn't your first time in the woods, if you came here before you went to Hemwick and you got the tonsil stone there, then this NPC serves no purpose.
Yeah, but just remember to pick up the tonsil stone because it is quite important. And that's kind of like the NPC where you're supposed to get it, quote unquote. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like this is like if you were going through the game naturally, when you got to the woods, that's when you get the tonsil stone. Thankfully, these guys aren't too bad. You get behind them, charge attack, visceral them, and then as soon as they stand up, they will immediately buff, so you can charge attack them and get another backstab in.
And again, just to remember, the item that we missed was, I think it's 10 bullets. Now, you clearly saw it on the right walking up towards the tonsil stone, so remember to pick that up. Yeah,
okay, so that was Bistro. That uses 15 arcane, it uses 1 or 2 bullets. Now, I can't remember what it is as of the latest patch. It's really good. It's a little AoE pop that has knockback on everything that's nearby. It's really good if you get like stuck in a corner, you can just pop that. Costs 2 bullets, it's not really a big deal, but it frees you from that danger immediately.
Yeah, and it's got very quick casting time. It's one of the few arcanes that are actually useful.
Really fast. Yeah, like the utility arcanes are really useful, like the old Hunter's Bone and the Beast Roar. Those ones are really good. It's when you get to the ones that deal damage where they become not so good.
Yeah, pretty much. So now we are going to go along this area first because we want to kill these Molotov guys before we go to like the next part, because if you don't kill these guys, you have to walk through like an oil lake. So if these guys are launching Molotovs at you, it's going to be a pain in the arse.
You take a hell of a lot more damage when you're covered in oil, or if you're standing on like a flammable surface, which is what that water actually is, which is really cool. You wouldn't notice, but the water surface is a little bit more shiny, and that is the indication that there's oil on it.
Yeah.
So try and avoid like going through sections like that, because there's usually Molotov guys nearby. So we're coming up here first, like we said, just to remove that threat. As well as there's a really handy pile of Molotovs right here as well. I think it's 10.
Yeah, you get. I think it's 10 or 11 Molotovs.
It's a straight up refill. Yeah, right there. It's a straight up refill on your Molotovs, which is really good because the enemies we're coming up to, like pretty much everything in the woods is weak to fire. Oh, it was 11.
Ah, nice.
Is weak to fire. So what you can do is you can really take advantage of the Molotovs when you're coming up against obviously the snakes as well. They're
Actually, the snake they're not even really useful against the snake men because they've got so much health that it doesn't really do enough damage to them.
Yeah, so we're going to drop down and we're going to go this way because we're going to show you the shortcut back into that village at the beginning. Or not the beginning, rather, it would be the second village we came to.
Yeah, basically
where I missed the bullets.
Yeah, we're just showing you the shortcut from the oil lake, but if you walked through... You'll see where the oil lake actually is if you went this way or go just to the lake.
From here, I'm going to go all the way back out to the start so that you guys can see what it looks like to come through the village the normal way instead of going up and round the sides.
Yeah. If you fell down the sort of rafters area that we're talking, like again, if you ran forward towards that lantern, this is where you'll land down at.
Yeah, this is where you land. So as you can see, there really is no reason to come down to this little to fall down that platform because you can go up and over the part that the flowered hill, go up and over that and come around this way where you won't take any fall damage and you'll have a better sense of your surroundings as well. But this area isn't real. The first part of the forest is really simple compared to the latter half of it. It's when you start going up against the snake balls and the giant snake balls and the guys that turn into snake-headed men. Oh, they'll see the one who bugged out on us and just fucking decided... Yeah, this playthrough's been really fucking glitchy.
So remember, if you run up towards the left there, that's where you'll get the bullets that we missed. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just showing you like we're back at the start. So now we're going to go into this village the normal way because there's quite a few items around here to pick up. Some useful items as well. We already picked up some beast blood pellet, I think it was, that was there. Avoid just on our right where you can see all that, all like the wooden planks and all that. You can fall down there. So we're not going to go down there just yet. We're going to do that last because it's just such a pointless fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing there is an antidote telling you that right now, so if you want to avoid it...
two crows as well. It's really not worth it for the sake of one antidote, considering the game throws quite a few antidotes at you in this area and the area before it as well.
So there's no item in this particular part, but...
it's this building here. You can actually grab this item from this side of the wall. I spotted the glow, and I was like, can I?
And you can.
So I was like, yeah, so you don't even need to go into that house, but yeah, you can pick the item from the other side, which is kind of funny.
Oh, apparently you... Oh no, you just didn't pick it up.
I just didn't pick it up, no. But it was just to show that you can do that. This is the first time I noticed that as well. But now we're going to fall into the pit with the antidote and the crows because we need to show you guys where every item is. I guess that's what it is. We show you where every item is. We don't get every item. That's what we'll make it now. So then people can't say it's not complete. But yeah, see, it's just a few crows and an antidote and then back up the ladder. It's not entirely worth it because by now you're probably full of antidote from like Old Yharnam and Cathedral Ward and stuff like that. You've got loads of it. Now what we need to do is move on to the next section. So just get your bearings and start walking towards the lake, as you can see here. So when you get out of the pit, just turn around and you'll be able to go straight towards this oil lake where you drop down after picking up the 11 Molotovs. And now we're going on to near the second part. We're coming to the first shortcut, just after this little village segment 2. So this guy's not too bad because he's facing away. You can get an early charge attack in, you can maybe backstab him if you want. He always drops vials in my experience as well, so I don't know if that's like a guarantee.
To be fair, most of those guys do drop vials.
So I'm going to run up here first because there's a guy with a gun, and I'm going to take out the guy with the gun first because they're more annoying, because they can interrupt you mid-attack and do some crazy damage if it's a counter hit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that's their biggest issue is because they can counter you with it.
Yeah, and of course because there's no poison Demon Souls, there's no hyper armor or anything
Demon
like
Souls,
that. Demon Souls, Bloodborne. There's no like sort of hyper armor except with like the really big weapons. Then taking a shot from one of these gun guys is really bad. If they get the counter damage, it staggers you, and then you might be in for like a really bad combo as well.
So there's a guy at the end here with a big cannon shooting at you. So you want to be kind of wary of that. What you can do is just run straight to the cannon guy. Now this is the first house on the right.
Yeah. I missed this house. I went to the second one.
But as you can see, even if you go to either one, you can just get to either or by the back route. So.
Now the good news is that the cannon guy the cannon doesn't fire on like a cycle where it's like a shot a few seconds, then another shot, a few seconds, then another shot. He only shoots when you like run into his line of sight. So you're safe to cross each of these houses after it's fired. But now we're just going to go straight for him, take him out, and then we can get the rest of the items in these little shacks.
Even then, he only shoots like at where you were, so we can only really get you if you just stay in the right area, in the same area.
And be careful in co-op, by the way. I've experienced a glitch in co-op where I've killed the guy on the cannon, and the cannon just turned into a machine gun and just kept firing over and over and over again. It was really fucking stupid.
So there's only 2 items in this sort of passage between the cannon and the oil lake, and that's on the first house on the right and the last house on the left.
Yeah, and it's vials, and this one was Beast Blood Pellet, of course.
Yeah.
So now there's twin shards around near the cannon as well, and this is us going to come up to the not near the cannon, near this cannon, but we're going to come up to our cannon in just a few moments, which is going to be really good. And we're going to do something that we think is probably the best option, but you guys can do something else. There's an NPC coming up who, basically, if you attack him, you're in for a really good surprise. Or you can take the easy route, and he'll ask you for like a safe place to go, and you absolutely 100% you want to send him to Yosefka's clinic, because if you send him to Cathedral Ward, one of your NPCs will die at random. Now, you can figure out why if you attack him and don't send him to Yosefka's clinic, and you try and take the tougher approach, sure.
But we can't really say what happens.
Nah, I want them to find out.
No, because there's ways. Right, basically, it turns into like a massive beast if you attack him. And I don't want to ruin it, but the issue is that what you can do is, we are just going to show you the Yosefka's clinic tactic, because there's fucking no point in fighting him at all. You gain nothing from fighting him, and Yosefka's clinic just means that you can just get the item that he drops so much just easy, like straight away. So
what's going to happen is, if you attack him, he's going to transform. The good news is that his character the model of his transformation is really big. So see that little corridor that we just walked through? You can go into there and you can hit him with poison knives. But the easiest thing to do is to send him to Yosefka's clinic, where he'll turn into a little alien and you can one-shot him and then get his rune that way.
Yeah.
But tell him to go somewhere. He'll give you pungent blood cocktails as well. So that's good. But if you do attack him, just come back into this little doorway here and just throw poison knives at him, and that's you're safe from there. So now we're going to drop down, and this item we're coming up to right here is the cannon. Now, a lot of people don't like the cannon because it's kind of OP, which, yes, let's not lie here, it is fucking ridiculously broken. It does a hell of a lot of damage, and we're going to use it because some of the bosses in this game are significantly easier with the cannon. Hint, hint, Abriatus.
Yeah. Yes, we know there is other ways of doing Abriatus, but we're going with the cannon build simply because it's like the easy, beginner friendly sort of thing. Yeah, and that's what we want to show you. We want to show you guys a way to get every item in the game, and to show you guys a good path through the game so that you can at least experience it all before you try to challenge yourself. Yeah. So we're going to go with the build that we find the easiest to beat the game while grabbing all these items as well. And if you guys want to do that, then fair enough, you can join us in the exact same build, or you can make your own build. It's entirely up to you guys. But this is the one that we found the easiest to go through the game with, because the weapons we choose give you such high base damage at low stats, as well as the cannon is like really good utility, and fuck that guy in particular. Yeah, exactly. Now, another reason for that guy that we sent to Yosefka's clinic, you don't want to send him to the church, simply because if he does kill Ariana, you don't get the umbilical cord. Exactly, which means you can't fight the last boss. Yeah, well, you can't fight the secret last boss, I guess. Yeah. So you really don't want to risk that at all. So definitely 100% send him to Yosefka's. Oh, and basically the only thing you gain from sending him to the cathedral is he'll give you pungent blood cocktails for everyone that he kills. Yeah. So what would you rather have? Would you rather not kill all the NPCs, or would you rather like a couple of pungent blood cocktails that you can just buy anyway? Yeah, you can just go to the insight vendor and get it. So we've got quite a few souls, so we're going to come back and we're going to level up our weapons, and of course we're going to level up too. We got a lot of twin bloodstone shards at the start of the forest, as well as we've got quite a few blood shards, so we're going to get our tonitrus, our saw cleaver, and our cannon as leveled up as possible, with the cannon being the lowest priority. Yeah. And then we're going to level up, it's just health dumping, so we've got our 25 endurance, we're going up to 40 health. Once we've got 40 in vitality, we're going to go up to 30 strength afterwards. If you're following our build, then that's what you want to do. Yeah. And now we're back in the forest after leveling up, checking our blood gems of course as well, repairing all our gear, and then coming back in here. Yeah, basically at this point it's like... Get into the habit of doing that. Every time you go to the dream, go see if your weapons need repaired, go see if you can upgrade, go see if you've got a better blood gem maybe to put in your weapon, and always check your runes in case you forgot you were wearing a farming rune or something like that, you know? Right, okay, so there's a lot of items in this area. This area is very open and wide. Now, there's sort of not a really solid way of being able to describe how to get certain items. However, we've managed to nail it down to when you come down this one windy path, this is where it opens out. Now there's a main path that you can see. Now there is 5 items at the beginning of this area at the left of this main path here. So that's what we're going to pick up first, and then the rest of the items can be picked up by doubling back to the beginning and then going the right way.
Yeah.
So there's no sort of items in the middle, they're all just down the left and down the right, which is what we're essentially going to be doing just now.
So as long as you stay on the left side of the path, eventually you're going to meet the path back at the bottom. So we're just going to get all these items. As soon as we meet the path at the bottom, we're going to run all the way back up to the top, go down the other side and get every other item, and try and make it as simple as possible. But we're not going to lie, this area is pretty tough. I almost died a couple of times, I think, in this section. Something
to remember is, although it is a very confusing area, if you do literally just stick to the main cobbled path that's presented to you and try and follow the fire, that should take you to the boss, or it'll take you to like a sort of area that looks like it's going down into a sort of swampy marsh.
So what you seen there was going back onto the path and then following the big tree all the way around it, because there was an item over on this side as well.
Yeah, it's basically like if you hug the left, like the very leftmost cliff, and follow that around, you'll find that item.
When you see the horse that's on fire, take a straight left and just keep hugging left. The horse serves as a landmark for 2 things actually. You'll see what the other landmark I'm talking about is later on.
We actually should have picked up this horse landmark item at the point where we were at the horse, but at this stage it doesn't really matter, because you'll see that later on. It's to get a certain armor set, there's a little jump that you get over, but you'll see that when we come to it. But just remember that you could pick that item up at that point as well, but we just left it till the very end. But we're going to get the right side items just now, and one of them involves doing this little drop around and following this cliff here.
So where we were there, we went back up to that's the hill that led up to the elevator, back up to the start of the Forbidden Woods. We just went back there, you're just going to hug the right, drop down, run and jump the gap, deal with this executioner, and then we're going to continue on getting the rest of the stuff on the right. And there is a lot of stuff in this place, guys, we're not going to lie. This is probably going to be the longest video, I imagine.
Now, something that's actually a tip for collecting these items is, if you literally, and I mean literally, just hug the right side of this level, right at the cliff, like if you went any more right you'd fall off the cliff. If you just follow the line the cliff makes around the right side, you will pick up all the items. So
you'll at least see every item at least once.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway. So that's the only tip I can really give you for the item run anyway. So you've got the left hand side for those first 5 items, and then the right hand side for near enough, but all of them until a certain point anyway, and we'll tell you when it gets to that. So there's one item just there, so we're going to take care of these snake balls and pick up this madman's knowledge.
At this point, with a +6 saw cleaver as well as the gemstones that you'll have, the blood gems that you have in it, you should be able to 3-shot these snake guys pretty quickly.
Yeah.
As well as the saw cleaver in its shortened mode attacks very fast on 3-hit combos, so the snakes can't really get a response in. These guys are very difficult.
Yeah.
Only because they have so much health and they do so much damage.
Now, we don't even have a very specific strategy for these guys. The issue being is we've literally never been able to figure out what is like the key. They're quite hard to parry, they've got a lot of damage, they've got a lot of health.
This is the best I could do, which was if they go for that, like if they reach out with their arm and then dash towards you, dash past them and try and get the visceral attack into the back of them. That's like the best method I've figured out. But there's really not much you can do. If they start attacking you with all the snake heads, just dodge backwards. It's very difficult to dodge past that attack. It's difficult to figure out when the parry frame is for that attack as well. Of course, the easiest attack to parry is the one where they swing the axe at you, but they rarely do that because they've got like a million snakes for a face and they'd rather use them instead.
Yeah. So if anyone does have a very specific, foolproof, easy strategy for taking care of them, put it in the comments and then you can maybe look and see if that's what you're looking for. But overall, it's kind of just be wary. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of guys that we just suggest just run away from, which we normally do even when playing now.
Yeah, there's a couple of giant snake balls. Like you can see the smaller ones like darted around the place near these snake men. You can see the small little balls of snakes. There's like bigger versions of those that are like, really annoying to deal with, but I've figured out a semi-solid strategy of dealing with them.
Now, something to remember is if you actually have your saw cleaver in its extended mode and you are to the right of them, so it would be their left, and you do the heavy attack, the way it swings round, you're almost sometimes more likely to get the backstab, which may be a thing to keep in mind with these snake guys.
Yeah, you'd have to be at like run about a 90-degree angle to the side of them though, so that the hitbox would arc round like that.
Even then, because it's kind of strange because the attack animation sort of falls around. But as you can see, this entire time,
yeah, this is what we're talking about. Just hug the cliffside. It's like going through a maze. Just keep the wall on one side of you and follow it until you get out the other side.
Now, a point to make is this one particular path up the way is actually kind of hidden and hard to find if you aren't hugging the right hand side.
You won't see it. Like trying to find this in the test was very difficult.
Yeah.
But we did get it, no problem. And now I'm just looking around in case there's anything else. I know there's another item up here, and it's behind this giant tree.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna like fuck that snake ball, and we're just gonna get out of here because I don't want to deal with that snake anymore.
So again, what we're doing is we're gonna hug the right hand side again, coming out, which then
Except you can't get out this way because let me access an area that leads to nowhere. Thanks. Best layout.
But anyway,
let's continue. So that's us finished with this path. So we're going to drop down and then we're going to keep hugging right as soon as we meet the bottom. We're going to go to the right, and as we said, just keep a wall or a cliffside on your right, and you will find other things.
So there's some shining coins, which are again technically not on the right, but
this is difficult. This bit there.
Yeah.
Now, I made the mistake of not dealing with the snake guy, this giant snake ball up top.
Yeah.
Which made this fight tougher. It wasn't like a huge influencing factor in the fight, but it did make it a little bit tougher. But there's 3 of these snake dudes here, and as you can see, the big snake ball poisoned me from up top. So there's 3 of the snake dudes here. I need to deal with the fucking artillery from the giant snake ball as well, so that wasn't wise. But I'm just trying to get behind it, hit it with a few R1s when it goes for its grab, and get out of there. And try and take them one at a time as well, because that's when it gets really difficult, like you're about to see here when I accidentally aggroed 2 of them. And I think I took an antidote instead of throwing a Molotov.
Something to remember is maybe the Trontus would have been doing more damage at this stage, which we for some reason never even attempted to use. I don't know why we didn't even think of using the Trontus, but if you have it, try it.
Yeah, or fire paper on the sock lever will deal a good bit of damage.
Yeah.
But that is the only chunk in the forest, so make sure you grab that.
Yeah, now of course chunks are incredibly useful for upgrading your weapon.
And they cost 30 insight to buy as well for no fucking reason.
Yeah, so you do not want to be in this situation, especially with a giant snake ball shooting down at you.
Yeah, so like I'm trying to back away and find like a safe spot, and then I realise there's another giant snake ball down there on my left.
So irritatingly enough, this is put us off the beaten path, so it's quite hard for you to understand where we are.
It's fine. Point, I go back.
Yeah,
and I show the direction.
But what I'm saying is, where you are right now would be in the middle path. As you can see, you're on that main cobbled path. So if you were just following the path, you would have been taken here. Chances are you're very close to one of the items that you picked up that was on the left-hand side, one of those 5. So that's probably about where you'd be at this stage. But as you can see, these guys are giving us a massive issue here because they do so much damage with their grab attack. So you really don't want to be in this position, but you do want to pick up the chunk. So it is a bit of like a
Yeah, the chunk is worth it. I mean, if someone in the comments can has a decent way to take care of these guys, then of course we're all ears.
But we've not. Well, there's nothing that's really. Been a thing, but again, the Trontus is probably the best idea, and if you attack them and
so
do some.
Where we are right now, this is the part with the chunk. Like, I get back there.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you can get back here if you just run to the right hand side and then just follow where you went again.
Yeah, you can just keep the wall on your right and you're good. So right now, what we're doing is that we're looking at the map to make sure that we've got everything behind us,
which we did.
Which we definitely did, and now we're going to move on. Of course, hugging the right yet again, because there's a bunch of items down in this section, as well as another giant snake ball, which you actually have to take care of.
Yeah, so down there is a shortcut to the boss. Now, I'm insistent that is the shortest way to the boss.
I, however, found a way that is slightly longer, but you run past far less resistance.
And in a sense, it is easier to get to, but I don't know. Basically, we're showing you that there is 2 ways. As you can see, you could hug the entire right-hand side here and then drop down into that area that we're looking at, which you'll see how it leads to the boss in a second, because right now we're just taking care of these enemies.
Yeah, so I'm trying to take care of the small snakes because I don't want those guys coming up behind me, because they have a combo attack where they hit you a bunch of times, as well as the giant snake to contend with too. Yeah. And the item is unfortunately right on the other side of this giant tree on my right, so I have to take care of the giant snake ball, which you're going to see me do here. So I'm extending the saw cleaver because then I can get some extra range. I'm trying to back up so that the snake will spit its venom, essentially, because you can jump through that and then get a few R1s in, but I end up just trying to go behind it and getting the R1s in there just to be a little bit quicker about it.
By the looks of things, going behind it and just spamming R1 does seem to be the best option.
It seems to have a strange hitbox right in front of it, because as you've seen there, when I went around the back of it on the left side, to get around the right side, I just walked around. I didn't dash through it or anything, I just walked around, so...
Right, so what we are doing right now is... This is quite a difficult area. Now, there was that giant snake...
This is a tough situation.
Yeah, now there was that giant snake ball enemy, and that's kind of like the last item on the right almost. Not quite, but there is a few other things on the right. But if you remember those shining coins that we picked up, and there's a little fence, if you follow that fence down and follow it round to the left, which is, again, just to the left of where you were that giant snake, so this should be easy enough to find if you were just watching the video, I suppose. But this area, there's 2 giant snakes, and there's a few sort of decent items here that you won't be able to pick up, so this is a bit of an issue, but this is less of an issue than 3 snake men. That is something to mention.
Yeah, so what I was doing there the entire time is, you noticed I was always dodging this guy. This guy was always spitting his venom at me. When I was fighting the first one, I was constantly keeping an eye on the one at the back, because if the venom hits you, it will stun you and do damage, and then the other snake can then, like, basically maul you, and that's not exactly ideal. So I was constantly keeping an eye on the one at the back, using the tree that is just behind me right now to get in the way so that it can't spit his venom at me while I fought the other one as well. Just trying to, like, break the line of sight from its ranged attack so that it's easier to deal with the other snake.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a Deep Sea.
Which is another defense rune.
So as you can see, the extended mode on the Saw Cleaver did give you a decent amount of range against the snake's physical attacks, but obviously its spit attack was still going to be an issue.
And now we're checking the map again, because as we said, guys, this is an insanely complicated place, and the map isn't really that helpful.
Yeah, we thought that the map would be able to straighten things out, but then we go, wait, it's still just a big blob mess of a forest.
Here's the thing, right? We can look at the map for ages, but the problem with the map is that there's still no landmarks in the forest, really, for us to like mark down pointers with. So it becomes really tough. So we end up looking at the map for a few seconds, and we should be moving on like right about now. Well, maybe not now, maybe in a few seconds.
So, again, to the right-hand side of this point, if you just went here, as you can see, this is what we're doing. We're going back to the right, and then this will take us back to the big snake. Yeah. Now, behind us, just right here would be behind us where the big snake would be. And we're going to jump down here, and this is where the shortcut to the boss would be. Now,
and this is the glitchy snake. So I hit him just as the snakes would have popped out, so it stunned him. So for him, the snakes are out, but for me, they aren't. So look, you see him like swinging his head and attacking me as if he has the snakes, like right here, when he doesn't. So this made it even tougher to fight these, quite frankly, bullshit enemies.
So this is absolute worst case scenario. Like,
oh yeah, like look at the state of this. What's happening? Mind control?
Rape.
There's laws against that, right? So yeah, we're just trying to I'm just trying to deal with this guy. This couldn't have went worse. But thankfully, the Saw Cleaver's range comes in handy.
It's a possibility that the Saw Cleaver's follow-up heavy will flatten these guys. I'm not sure.
It does. I've done it earlier in the video.
So yeah, you might want to try and abuse that.
So that's Clockwork Metamorphosis. That gives you 5% extra health. This gate doesn't open from this side, so we're going to have to go around.
Yeah, but we're just showing you the shortcut anyway. So again, this is a shortcut to the boss. You'll see where we open the gate and how it leads to the boss. So the boss is very close to that gate. But if you want a shortcut to the boss from the first lantern, then essentially you hug the right hand wall and eventually you'll come to this point and there's no way you can miss it.
So we then drop down, and once again we're going to continue hugging the right.
Now if you didn't drop down to that part and just hug the right, this is still where you'd be. There's no there's no way you could mess that up if you just hug the right, because this is essentially the bottom of the forest and it just sort of goes around to the left, so if you hug the right it'll keep you at this point. So as you can see, at this point there is lanterns and the main cobbled path, so clearly hugging the right is taking you to the way the level wants you to go, essentially. Now at this point we're actually just going to Hunter's Mark back. I mean, this way takes you to the shortcut and to the rest of the level, but at this point we're actually just going to...
The only thing we've missed near the top of the forest was an armor set, so we're going to get that right now. And of course we're going back to the start so we can show you like how to get it very easily, because I managed to figure out a pretty good landmark.
Yeah.
which is a really good indicator of when you want to turn to go for the armor set. So you'll see that when we get down here. So this is us taking the shortcut down from the lantern at the very start of Forbidden Woods, and we're just going to run down at the right, and we're going to run straight down the cobbled path, and we're not going to diverge. We're going to stay on the cobbled path until we get to the burning horse, and we're going to immediately take a left, and you'll see a break in the fence that you can run and jump through to get onto like this little island on the other side, and that's where you'll find the robes, and then dropping down will give you the helmet, or it might be the other way around, but just stay on this path, keep running down, don't go to the left or right, just stick to it. Here's the burning horse right here, going to take a left, and there's the jump right here, you'll see it. There you go.
Now, like I said earlier, this is a jump that you could have done at the beginning when you're getting the beginning left-hand items, but the reason we never got that is because jumping down here takes you to like a massively end part of the level, so it would have meant that running back from here.
Backtrack anyway, but now because this shortcut takes you all the way down near the end anyway, so now what we're doing is just gathering the last items that are down here, and then we're going to go get the shortcut that takes us all the way back up to where the cannon was. I almost ran past that. So now this lake is really good. To the left there is some stuff that we're going to get when we come back down, but to the right is where we're going to come up to the shortcut. Now this is going to take us to the barn with the cannon. So that's where this lift is going to take us. These guys, of course, you might as well just run past this guy, but I don't know why I took him on. I thought there was like an item here maybe, but the forest is just insane. He attacked me and I was behind him. Like, he just sent like 50 snake faces at me and I was behind him.
Snake faces.
Well, is that not biologically correct? Anatomically was the word I was looking for. But anyway, is that not it? No? Okay, so this is the elevator. It takes us up. We're going to show you like the barn and stuff like that. So basically what you want to do then is when you're running down using these shortcuts, we show you it later on in the video, when you're using these shortcuts you're going to come down the elevator right next to the lantern at the very start. You come out of that and you take a left, run across the bridge, straight through the barn, and then back down this elevator that takes you to the bottom part of the forest. What is it we've got left to pick up? We've got a stamina rune to pick up. We have a blood gem to pick up as well, don't we? Round near the pig there's a blood gem. And we have another lake rune to pick up as well, I'm sure.
So, as you can see from this area where this is like, if you were picking up those items from the left and you dropped off the cliff and wasn't one of the places where you would die, you would land in this area here. Now so essentially you could think of this as a bit like a cavern. Now this could be a way to unlock that shortcut easily, where if you just jump off the left and you jump down here, then
use the Tornatrus, by the way. These guys are insanely weak to bolt.
Yeah.
Like you can see, it one-shots them, so make sure you use the Tornatrus. The ones that have like the fucking weird hairdo, those guys fire quite high damage magic at you. So, I mean, you might not have a problem with it at this level, but it's still something to contend with, and the fact that there's two of them, they'll probably kill you if both of them hit you at the same time and you're missing just a bit of health, so just be wary of that.
Now
we're going back.
Yeah, so if you can remember, just before we hunters marked back, before we went to get the armor, you saw a pig. Essentially this area is behind that pig.
Yeah.
So, you know, like this entire area. Now, if you went the other direction of the pig, that is how you get to the boss, essentially.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do right now. So we're coming back out onto this massive wide open lake, and we're going to go to the right and go along this way, because there is a rune to pick up over here, as well as a gemstone, and we're not going to deal with the pig here because it's not really worth it.
So as you can see, to the right there is where we were. That's where we hunters marked.
That's where we hunters marked to go back to start. So just try and wiggle your character through these branches, grab this, and then duck out the other side. Don't even deal with these guys, there's no reason to, there's no point in doing it. Just duck out the other side, and then straight along here, hugging the left again, you'll find another item, and there's a pig here that we are going to deal with. Now the good news here is, don't use any vials when you're here, by the way. If you don't cross the threshold behind the pig, like just behind where I'm standing, when you run past that, you will be given full health and full stamina immediately. It's a really weird glitch in the game, we're not sure why it's there and it hasn't been removed, but sprinting past that refills your health and stamina once per load screen in this area, essentially.
Yeah, no idea why.
So that's why I'm spinning here, like that was the threshold there. If you run past that, it'll pop your health and stamina back up to full.
So again, to mention the fact that, as you can see, the architecture for this area is really difficult.
Yeah, so, it's not something you're going to like figure out on your first try through.
But again, I mean, a good way of look, right, so
this is the glitchy snake man, which is, it's kind of good that he glitched out because it serves as a really good mental landmark.
Yeah, exactly. So to get to this point, all you need to do is run from the right and come hug the right hand side of the forest, and you'll go to that point with the snake guy, and then you just run down those stairs and get to the boss. Or instead of jumping down there, you can go to the at the lantern, you go to the left and you go back into the barn area and you go down the other shortcut and you follow the marshy lake.
You're gonna see the way that I prefer to go, because there are far less enemies to deal with. You're in virtually no danger because you can just run past it all very safely. Any damage you take along the way, you get back as soon as you run past the pig. You get all your health and stamina back anyway, so you're actually at no risk here. So we drop down, take a left and run back over the bridge towards the barn, and that leads us to the other shortcut elevator down, and then I'm just going to run straight through the lake, straight up river again, and go towards that pig that was near the blood gem as well. We're just going to run straight past all that, because there's going the other way, it might be a little bit quicker, yes, but you have to remember that going the other way means you have to run past snake men, balls of snake. There's that big snake as well right at the drop down point, and then there's that snake man right there at the drop, so that's one of the ones you really have to commit to the boss fight if you do that. It's a case of you're running straight in and you're going in for the boss the way it is, in case anything does run up behind you like the snake on the way to the boss, which you'd probably want to avoid.
So I'd say a good way of looking at it in terms of, so there's that pig and there's that bit to the right where we hunter's marked. So as you can see, if you hug the right hand side of the forest to get to this point, you then just go past that pig and then you take a right, and then that'll take you up to the shortcut. So that's, I mean, again, it's very hard to explain, but hopefully what we're saying makes sense.
You can jump over those. I just mucked up the jump. So look, you'll see my health right here. It's going to go back up to full, and my stamina. There you go. That's what happens when you cross
just to make a point, if you come from the other part, by the way, your health and stamina will regenerate at these stairs. Yeah,
they'll regenerate halfway down the stairs.
Yeah, so if you hug the right hand side and go the right hand side shortcut,
you still get that back. Yes. Okay, so this is a threefold boss. This is a gank boss, so that's already naturally very difficult. Now, I couldn't parry for shit today for some reason, and these guys are actually really easy to parry, and I don't know why I couldn't do it.
I'll vouch for him. These guys are a lot easier to parry than he's making out to be.
Yeah, so what I do first of all here is I like to focus on this one who is just beating the shit out of me right here. I take him down first, and then I deal with the mage. I leave the one with the candle until last, because there's a very easily exploited AI loop with that guy, which just makes the fight trivial when he's the last one. So just back away, try and get the mage on the other side of like the brickwork that's on your left, like behind one of the giant tombstones. Try and get the mage behind that so that they can't fire, so they can't like throw fireballs at you.
Yeah, pacing is incredibly important for this boss. Not pacing, spacing. I mean.
Yeah. So pacing as well. Don't take any hits that are risky or anything like that. Just wait out your time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So all you need to do to parry these guys is they'll always lift up the sword. As soon as the sword stops winding up and starts to come towards you, you're pretty safe to fucking hit the shoot button. But I was just going way too early.
Now something I would suggest. Now I know that armor doesn't make a huge difference, but put your highest fire defense armor on, because the guy with the candle that's more aggressive, the guy that you're just hitting there that fires out the 3. No, not the 3 guy, the other guy.
The guy with the one who's using the flamethrower does a significantly high amount of damage if you get trapped in that.
Oh my god, he's one-shot me so many times,
and that attack right there, he does a lot.
So powerful.
So this one's really easy to riposte, or get the visceral on rather. Once you get the boss's health down enough, try and break down the swordsman and the mage evenly.
No, I disagree. In Epic Name Bro also because you want to focus your attacks on one guy and utterly hammer them.
Look, I almost died there. In my experience, I found it really easy to try and bring them down evenly, because when you take one of them down too far, they'll all transform, but you can bring them all down at an even state, and when all of them are near half, they will transform, which means that it's less to deal with after the transformation.
See, that's actually not true, because the case is if you bring them all down evenly, then no matter what, you have 3 of them in a transform state.
There is that. But, that's just like that's the way I've always done it. I found it a little bit easier.
So it worked out relatively well here, but again, you want to space yourself from the candle guy from the other guy. So
here's the loop. So you just hit him, he'll dodge. You move forward, hit him, he'll dodge. Move forward, hit him, he'll dodge. Move forward, hit him, he'll dodge. As simple as that. R1, left stick forward. R1, left stick forward. R1, and he does this every damn time. It's an unbreakable loop because he doesn't have an attack. He doesn't have, like the mage has one. Sometimes when you hit the mage, it'll like unleash a fireball attack instead, or it'll bring up like the Hydra that it has as well, and you want to avoid that. But this guy is stuck in the loop forever, so that's the easiest way to exploit this boss to win anyway. And now, of course, coming back, that's us get 40 in our vitality now. So the next stage would be getting to 30 strength, and then we put the stats into skill so that we can use the cannon.
Yeah.
And now back here, so we're getting our Adela's blood back because we used that in the forest. It gives you a really, really nice amount of HP. Probably use that during the boss fight.
Yeah.
And now we have to do a lot of quick reloading because now she will speak to us and we can get a bunch of sedative and end her quest line right now.
Yeah. So you need to talk to her and then just obviously tell her your woes. She'll give you a sedative.
Just keep doing this until she doesn't give you sedative, and then you quit and reload. She'll be gone. You quit and reload and she'll come back, and you just repeat the process until she no longer keeps coming back. And then you will find her outside with the last sedative.
So now we're quitting and reloading now.
So we're cutting out all the load screens obviously just to show you that she's gone, and then we're going to quit and reload again, and she's gone, so we're going to quit and reload again. You just keep doing this until she comes back, you get your sedative, and then you do it again.
She's back again, you talk to her, you tell her your woes.
Make sure you go through this dialogue a couple of times every time you talk to her as well, just to make sure that you get everything off of her that you can get.
Now, the issue is if you didn't tell her your woes here, she won't die.
Yeah.
But if you do tell her your woes here...
You can see her just outside on the left.
Yeah, so you can either keep her alive and it'll just end her quest and that's it, she'll be alive. Or, if you tell her your woes once more, she'll go out to get sedatives and she'll die. So
and that is the actual ending, so...
Yeah.
Now we must pay tribute to a true American gay trait. Always there in our time of need.
But anyway, that is it for the forest, so that was a hefty episode.
Yeah, that was a really tough one, guys, and we're proud of you for doing it. Well done.
Yeah.
Everyone have a round of applause. That was really well done, guys.
But anyway, that's it for the episode.
Yeah, so we'll see you in the next one, which is going to be Yosefka's Clinic, which will be a short one, and then Bergenworth afterwards will also be a very short one too.
Yeah.
But this is like the first main hurdle of the game done now. Like, this is the hardest part of the game right now, I guess, until near enough the end of it.
Yeah.
So well done, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you.